You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, King Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for Teen Mom. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Teen Mom news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off, and the buzz continues. It's AfterBuzz TV for Teen Mom.
Hello, Maury Fagel here, and we are back from a week hiatus. I'm joined by Ed. Ed, how are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, thanks, Maury.
So, last week a lot of things happened. This week a lot of things happened. The one person I actually think that not that much happened in the past 2 weeks is actually Amber. And so that's why I just want to get off. I want to get your opinions on this, but we can start out talking about her and her development this season. I really feel like MTV is drawing out her custody and her, child protective services and police battle. And I know that they can't film inside the police department and inside the courthouse, so that's maybe limiting it. Right. But, I feel like her legal battles are probably the most dramatic. Her fights with Gary are probably the most dramatic, yet I felt that she was given little attention this episode. What did you think?
Well, she is, obviously the most volatile of all of the girls. And I still swear, every single time that her and Gary start to fight, I feel like she's gonna hit you, dude. Get out of the room. She just gets so angry about everything, and then you see her in other scenes where she seems really sort of calm and together, and the whole court thing has calmed her down. But I think that Amber is exactly like you're saying. She is the ideal person for this type of show, both for good reasons and bad reasons, right? Like the good reasons are that MTV, could say, look, this is an example of what not to do. But then you also have such extreme behavior and experiences that they're going through that make it for really interesting TV, the whole watching a train wreck thing. It's...
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious what the producers and editors are thinking, because sometimes when I watch Caitlin, I feel like they're straining to get a story out of her each week. And this week, she got a lot of airtime, and I understand it was, interesting, her and her mom and counseling and everything, but she doesn't have the baby in her life anymore. So, it's interesting to see her trials and tribulations, but Amber is just like, you couldn't write a character more dramatic than her reality. And so I just wonder why there's not more of her.
Well, I think that there's going to be stuff coming up. I mean, obviously there's some things they can't show. And I don't know, what if MTV is like, once they saw that she was actually the police were actually involved because of what happened on the show, what if MTV said, okay, well, maybe we're going to tone it down or something like that? And I have a quick host note. Jesse, I got a text message from Isabel saying that she's calling in, but it's just ringing. So if you see her, she sounds like she wants to join in. But go ahead.
Oh, well, that'll be good. But I'm wondering if maybe the reason why I feel like Amber's storyline is slow is because so much has happened to her since the period in time that we're watching the episode, that I know so much more. I know that she actually did go to jail for a day. I know that she had a suicide attempt. I know that she's currently at rehab. So maybe it's just that I know that there's so much more drama, that the fact that they're kind of lingering through the last 3 weeks talking about, is Child Protective Services going to come? And when they finally did come this episode, it wasn't even that big of a deal. I just kind of feel like we'll get to the drama already.
All right, guys, we have Isabel on the line with us.
Hi, it's Isabel.
Hey, Isabel. We were
Hi,
just.
Isabel. So I just want to ask you off the bat. We're talking about Amber and whether MTV is showing her drama enough, because I kind of feel like they're drawing it out and that there's a lot more drama there than the other girls. So what do you think?
Oh, yes, it's definitely being covered up a lot. I mean, we all have seen her on the tabloids, and we know there's a lot more there. I was even questioning throughout the episode, they didn't even show, did she really break up with Gary? They just showed a little piece of her saying, I'm staying with my friends, but it doesn't tell us the whole background. So they're definitely covering a lot up.
But why would they cover that up? Like, I noticed that, too. Like, all of a sudden, the title of Gary underneath his name said Amber's ex. Yes. I'm like, when did that happen? Like officially. And then his mom is trying to tell him, look, you just need to leave her alone, let her go, stop all this back and forth. And I figured she was talking about them being, in a relationship and then out of one and in one and out of one.
Well, isn't that what she was referring to?
I mean, I think so, but it's like we didn't get to see that part. Like, I don't remember seeing that. The in and out and, okay, we're together again. I remember they were apart for a while, but then they got back together, and then I didn't see him break up.
Well, I don't think she's only talking about this season. And there's been other seasons where they've done the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Well, I think most recently, the reason why he put X under his name is because last episode we left off with that big fight where she all of a sudden blew up at him out of nowhere, left to go to her old apartment to her friend's house, and this episode picked up with that, and she said she's been staying at her friend's house and that she's not with him anymore. So that's the thing is, with back and forth relationships like that, something as little as like a fight will then mean we're over. And it's like, how many times have we heard Amber say over and over again, we're over, we're done, this is done, so she means it every time, apparently.
So you don't think that, like, they had, an argument and then afterwards they had a civil conversation or something happened off camera where they said, okay, we're broken up, and then...
No, because why would that be off camera?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I kind of agree with Ed, because this time when she left, she did not walk away and say it's over. She said, I'm leaving. So I took it as, okay, she's actually maturing a little, and she's probably leaving to take a breather, to go away and just, calm down and then come back. But then we come back this episode and nothing's explained. All we learned is she's not living with Gary or the baby.
Right. And she's, when her friends ask, well, what about Gary? And she's like, I don't know. It's really like not. It doesn't sound for sure, but yet we're told, they're exes.
The thing with back and forth relationships is there's always going to be a blurred line. There's always going to be the in between. So like, maybe it's not. It's like their relationship isn't that clear cut, so it can't be that clear cut for viewers. But I will say the one thing about Amber this episode that I thought was interesting is, the last few episodes, she will all of a sudden, she'll be happy, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, blow up, get so angry. I mean, the fight last week was insane because Gary wasn't even saying anything. She was saying, I'm going through a lot, and he was being supportive, and all of a sudden she took that to mean him saying, oh, well, the baby's not going to be taken from me. But I saw one moment of clarity this episode where she was talking to her friend, and she said, I need to work on getting better for Leah.
Right.
I need to, be there and be a better mother. And I thought to myself, wow, she has this moment of clarity. And that's how I refer to it as, because she's so manic. She'll be happy one second and totally crazed the next second. And that is why I really think that, we've heard that she's been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, but she claims that it's just the ups and downs of being a teen mom. I actually really do think that she's bipolar because she has these manic episodes, and that is characteristic of someone with bipolar disorder, is they have these moments of clarity.
Yeah, she sure did.
I mean, Isabel, what did you think about that?
I just think she is someone that has been battling with, as I mentioned before, I love reading books, and I think when I've read about postpartum, it can really, a woman can learn to deal with it and overcome it, or it can stay with you as long as, it can take years. And I think her postpartum was so hard, and it was happening all around her dad's sickness, which we still don't know if the dad's alive or not. There was just so much going on in her life, and she was definitely one of the teen moms that never accepted that, I had a baby, I have to deal with this. It's like she hated herself for that. And I think there's so much more emotions and so much more problems there that she's going through, and it still involves the postpartum. And you're right, and maybe she is now bipolar. I feel like when we started watching her, she wasn't as upset, as angry, as hurt, as sad. I don't think she was that bad, and I think after the pregnancy, it's probably what got her where she's at now. But I do believe that it's still postpartum there, and then now this new, sickness, which is bipolar, and whatever's going on in her life, she just needs a lot of help all around. And nothing's being helped here. We see her talk about going to therapy, but we never see her in the session. So I'm wondering, again, is MTV covering that, or are they not allowed to bring the cameras because it has to do with, domestic violence? I have no idea, but it's something big.
You're talking about in
the
court?
Did you notice his mom brought up the fact that she needs to go to anger management and kind of said that she doesn't go to anger management, but she should.
Right. But do you remember also Amber mentions at some point to Gary, she says, did you tell them that I'm going to therapy? But we never actually see her in those sessions. We see Farah, we see Caitlin and her mom, but we never get to see Amber. So, again, this is where the whole question of, is MTV hiding something? Or are they even allowed to bring the cameras in because this is something to do with domestic violence and a baby that's involved? So I don't know. Maybe that's what's going on here.
Now, I have another question, and I can't help but feel like because she is going through all this on camera that she's being treated differently than any other person who may have abused or hit their boyfriend. Because that would have been something that, had they not been on camera, Gary would have never said anything. He would have never gone to the police. So, Child Protective Services is after her. The police is after her. But had she not been a reality star, would she have had to go through any of this? And do you think it's too harsh what they're doing, or do you think that she deserves to be investigated and she only ended up going to jail for a day, but she did indeed go to jail. She did indeed get investigated, and Gary did indeed have to take temporary custody of her. So do you think that was harsh, or do you think that was fair?
I definitely think that they were going against MTV. Whoever was like, did you watch the show? Did you see what this girl did? She's not getting in trouble. So I think they were going against MTV, and she's getting punished for it. Because you're right, I don't think if this had never been aired, she had never been on the show, I don't think she would be going through everything that she's going through now. And she would probably be at home with Gary and the whole mess, breaking up, making up, but maybe it's a good thing. Maybe she needed this, so next time she's not beating her baby while she's angry at Gary,
I think.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's very, very clearly every sort of policy that comes out of like these protective agencies, whether they're trying to protect from domestic violence in general or protecting kids, they always err on the side of extreme caution. And so, here we have a situation where it's on video what the assault and what happened. And so it's, most of the time these agencies and these law enforcement people, they have to go based on eyewitness accounts, and they don't always have video. This time they have video of what happened, and it's against the law. You can't do that. And so it's almost, it would be almost inconceivable for them to not take action. So, as far as whether or not they should do things the way they do, it's kind of hard to say anything bad about somebody if their real intention is to protect kids. I don't think Gary didn't call the police and report her for assaulting him, right? I mean, that didn't happen. No, they just saw it, and then they started to try to contact Amber and Gary and try to, come around. But yeah, it's tough to say, oh, they're taking it too far, because you know what? You got a kid there, and if you're willing to be violent, whether it's verbally or physically around a toddler, then and be on camera. Well, guess what? Somebody probably needs to come in and ask questions at least.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about one of the other girls who had some legal battles this episode, which is Farah. Derek's biological mother filed suit asking for visitation or demanding visitation rights with Sophia. And what I thought was so interesting was when Sarah, this episode, went to Derek's stepmom and Derek's dad, I was a little nervous at first because I thought, okay, whose side are they going to be on? Because Derek's dad used to be married to this woman, and, like, she is the mother. So are they going to say, are they going to back out of it or side with her? I was nervous. But, you know, they fully sided with Farah. And I thought to myself, this is the way to have a relationship. If Derek's mother really wanted a relationship with Sophia, then she should become friends with Farah. She should go out on play dates like Derek's dad is doing. And so I thought to myself, they're doing it the right way. Because, look, Farah's not preventing them from seeing her, not whatsoever. Last week they went out, last week's episode, this week's episode they went out. And so I thought that was smart of them to back her.
But they
and,
both,
you know, they even went so far as saying, I don't know why she's doing it. What did you think of that?
Let's also not forget that the parents, because of the mom, she is having trouble with getting the Social Security money for the baby because the mom was the one that provided information in regards to, you know, my son never went ahead and believed that was his son, that was his daughter, therefore she doesn't deserve any of this money. So she already started on a bad side with Farah to begin with.
It was the mom that gave that info? It was
Yes, when she's reading the information, they say, you know, the mom wasn't really cooperating with social services in regards to, you know, saying, yes, my son knew that was his daughter. And even Farah mentioned even his sister never contacted and she wasn't helping after the DNA test. She did not try to help or go with me to file the paperwork, you know. So that's why they're saying that, you know, the baby's not Derek's kid because he never acknowledged it, and they heard from the family members that he did not believe it was his baby.
But were you surprised that Derek's dad sided with Farah as opposed to his ex-wife?
No, I think I wasn't surprised at all. Maybe he knows her better than we all do, and because we haven't even seen them on any of the seasons. So maybe he knows, you know, this is evil, the way they're going around it. Instead of just contacting you like we did, hey, we want to see our granddaughter. Can we set up a date, just like you said, Mike? But it doesn't seem like that's the way they're going. The first communication that Farah gets from them is this court paper saying we want to take some days away from you.
Well, no, that wasn't the first. I mean, you know, they wanted to, you know, be around her more when she did meet with them, you know, for dinner or whatever at that place. But the thing is, it seems like it's bigger than just you know, her reporting to the agency that my son maybe thought it wasn't his kid. It seems bigger than that because Farah's mom and Farah are like, we don't want her to be around Sophia at all. And, you know, and when she's with the stepmom and the real dad, the other dad, she says, you know, we just want to keep her away from the negativity on that side. And the dad agrees. So it does seem like he knows something and they're talking about something, but I feel like it's something bigger than just, you know, her saying one time, you know, to the agency, my son thought that maybe he wasn't the father. Who knows? Maybe for one moment, you know, that her son did say that, and she just chose to, you know, kind of tell that portion of it.
No, I think it is bigger than that. I think that Derek's mother never liked Farah, and the fact that she wanted to deny all along that Derek was the father, then, you know, that's hurtful. That's negative.
It was too bad. With Farah though, you know what? What always happens, and I hate it because I like Farah, but what happens every time is she gets in that mode where she is just so impatient with her mother, and it's just I just get so disappointed, you know, in that she like it actually distracts me from her circumstances, from the situation that she's in. Because she clearly loves her daughter. Her daughter is beautiful and actually looks happy and healthy and well taken care of. But then, you know what? Her mom says something that just gets under her skin, and then she just is, you know, straight out plain disrespectful.
You know, I agree with you, Ed, but as I was watching it, I kept thinking, she's mentioned it and said it herself several times. She has nobody, no friends, no one who she can confide to, no one who she can express her feelings aside from her therapist, and we rarely see her around friends anymore. And I just think her mom or people that are close to her mom, her dad, is who gets all these crazy emotions from Farah. She has no other way to release her anger, her sadness, her happiness, but around her mom. And, I think whenever, just for this instance, when she's nervous, freaking out, and I don't know, I'm sure the mom was just talking to her about Barney and what Sophia liked to try and calm her down and have her think about something else. But to Farah, it's just like, shut up. Like, I'm going through this. I don't need you. And she just thinks out loud and transfers all that negativity towards her mom. But I don't think she does it on purpose. We've seen her be very happy and hug her mom and say, I love you, I appreciate everything you do. I really do appreciate you being here for me and Sophia. But again, I just think she's so lonely. She has no one to express any of her feelings or emotions to, that she just takes it out on her mom.
Wow. Well,
but
that's
I
good
agree with
insight.
Ed. It makes it so difficult to watch her and to rally for her, because any moment, and to feel bad for her, because any moment I think, oh, this is a tough situation. She's by herself. The baby's father has passed away. She's going through this court battle. And, I want to feel bad for her. And then she shows that attitude again every episode. And it gets to the point where anytime her and her mom are in a scene, I'm wondering, okay, is she going to snap now? Because earlier, before she snapped at the hearing, earlier her mom said, I think you should go to this hearing. And I saw the slightest tinge of attitude, and I thought, oh, well, she's going to blow up right now. And I was actually shocked that she didn't. And it's hard for me to find sympathy for her when she treats her mom like such shit. And I understand she has no friends, but that is no excuse. Get some friends, or I don't know. Don't treat your mom like that.
Yeah, I agree. It's like there's.
Ed is like that. You can contact Ed. She has a friend there.
Yeah, I'll be friends. We can be friends.
No, but Ed, you're on my same side. You're not a Farrah fan. Maybe Farrah should contact Isabel, because Isabel, you actually are the one who rallies for her.
Well, wait a minute. No,
I'm
Isabel,
not gonna be your friend, Farrah.
Mari, Isabel's making fun of me because I told her that I think Farrah is cute. Okay, and so that's why she said maybe be friends with Ed. That's why she's making fun of me. So.
Well, I have some news and gossip for you coming up later on Farrah and her being huge, and you might get another chance to see your celeb crush.
Okay.
So, before we get into Macy and Caitlin, what did you think about? I mean, I was shocked when Derek's mother tried to get visitation, but last episode I thought, well, is this legit? Because, they seemed genuinely scared about it. But it did end that, everything was dismissed, and I agreed when the lawyer said at the top of the episode, he said, first of all, they need to prove there was a relationship there beforehand, and they need to prove that Farrah was unfit to make visitation decisions, both of which are unlikely. So I'm glad it was thrown out. What did you guys think of that?
Nope. I mean, although I don't want, I would say it's better to not have conflict and tension and negativity, especially with a child. But at the same time, no way, man. I did not rejoice in the fact. In fact, I was sort of angry that they came home and did a dance and all this stuff and singing songs in celebration, that they don't have that Sophia doesn't have to see her grandmother. That's her grandmother, okay?
It doesn't matter, Ed. It
matters.
Doesn't matter. So you're telling me if grandma was a rapist, that's your grandma. You need to be around your grandma.
Well, like I've said in previous in 16 and Pregnant and previous episodes, when you're dealing with, say, even a dad that has issues. Now, I think you said a rapist. That's pretty extreme. But like even somebody who has self-destructive habits should still be allowed access to their children. In that case, maybe it would be required to be supervised. But that's grandma. And so, no, I was not happy that grandma doesn't get to see her granddaughter. I'm upset about that. And I think that they shouldn't do that. I didn't like it at all.
Well,
I think that this grandma was the person who claimed that her son wasn't even the father for a while. And so first she was claiming she wasn't the grandma, and now all of a sudden she's claiming she is. But I do agree with you, Ed. It's time to forgive and forget because she is her only paternal grandmother, and it is important to have a relationship. So I do agree with that. I just don't think going through the courts is the right way.
Well,
so I was happy that the hearing went that way. Yeah. I hope that in the future she can have the kind of relationship that Sophia has with Derek's stepmom, and that's the right way to go about a relationship.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Like baby steps. Don't just send out some documents and say, okay, we want to actually take your daughter away from you for 2 days. Even if it's a day, baby steps.
Right.
Have not been anyone in her life, so I don't think you deserve a day or a night, maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour where I watch you with my daughter, but not, baby steps. And this already shows something, towards that grandma. The way she went around this, it's definitely not somebody that should be around Sophia right now, and I'm glad that she didn't win. And once they got home, it was the only time I saw, Grandma, Farrah's mom and her dad and the baby all happy in the same room, just happy about something, whether it was, this whole situation, but they seemed like they were happy and they were enjoying themselves around each other. And you can kind of forget how mean Farrah had been to her mom earlier. So it was a nice moment for me.
Yeah, but you're acting like you're celebrating the fact that, because this woman tried to go through the court system to get access to her granddaughter, that's some horrible thing because she did that, now she should have to relinquish her rights as a grandparent. No way. It is.
I mean, she's
not relinquishing her rights.
Well, look, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You guys...
She can still, there's nothing stopping her from calling up Farrah and saying, hey, listen, I want to see her, can we meet in the park?
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping her.
Yeah, I think
had of her having any right to keep, Sophia overnight. They wanted 2 days out of the week. They wanted some visits. No, that wasn't.
Well,
no.
Look, a lot of that is just lawyer tactics. I mean, you don't ask for you don't ask for something small if you want something big. You ask for what you want, and then had it not been dismissed, you wouldn't have seen a judge just say, here, she can have the daughter for the weekend. No, you would have seen the judge do exactly what you guys are saying. They would have said, okay, well, you know what, why don't we start with an hour of supervised visitation, and you guys can meet in the central, agreed upon location. You could be at the McDonald's play place or whatever. That way they can get comfortable, and then maybe it will make sense to increase the time or something like that for visitation, vacations, whatever. So.
But also don't forget, Farrah tried to not go to court and just, no, I don't think they deserve that, and they still came back by suing her.
Right.
So it wasn't like they were even trying to contact it and say, okay, fine, you don't want to go to court, that's cool, but can we talk? No, they came back with a bigger issue by suing Farrah.
Right,
I don't think, that just shows you these are not people that should be around Sophia yet.
Yeah, see, again, I think that's taking it too far. I think it's taking it too far to say that because they tried a certain way to gain access to listen, somebody tries to take away one of my children, I'm going to do anything and everything. I'm going to do court. I'm going to do all kinds of stuff. I'm going to try to be nice. I'm going to try to do everything. And some people may have different opinions about how, what's right and what's wrong. You got to remember that you're not just talking about the grandparents' rights. You're talking about Sophia's right to know her grandmother. So,
okay,
so it's,
you're somebody that didn't support her living.
You're saying if someone were to try to take away your rights as a parent, you would fight for the kid. But that's because you wanted to be a parent all along. This grandmother claimed that she wasn't the grandmother of this
It doesn't
child.
matter. That's not saying just because at one moment she says or has a feeling like I don't want to be a grandparent, I don't think it's mine. That doesn't mean that she in that moment gives up every future opportunity chance.
You can't
9 months
deny
of
one
Farrah's
thing and
pregnancy.
ask for the other.
Sure you can.
You can't
Sure you can, especially when it comes to
and
this.
then ask for visitation.
Right, and the 9 months that Farrah was pregnant after she gave birth. I mean, how old
you
is
can't
Sophia
do a
now?
DNA test while the baby's in the womb. You can't do a DNA test until after the baby comes out. DNA test comes out 99.67%.
She probably misses her son, and this is the only little piece left. And she realizes, oh, this is as close as I can be to my son. Well,
how many parents go through sleepless nights and have moments in their brains where they don't, maybe inner thoughts they don't share with people, and they wish that they were not the parent. They wish that they never had their kid, and they don't tell anybody because it's a deep, dark secret. Should they, because they thought that at that time, then no longer be allowed to be a parent? No. This is even farther removed. And there may be other factors for this grandmother, other things that made her feel really overwhelmed, and for her to be held responsible for one, situation where she says these things like, I don't think I'm the grandmother, and then it comes out to be proven that she is. And then guess what? Just like on the Maury Povich show, right? The guy finds out he's the dad, and then is he going to step up or is he going to walk out? So she, after finding out that the DNA test was 99.67, does the right thing and says, I want to step up and be a grandmother in my granddaughter's life.
Okay,
and that should not be denied. That should not be denied easily.
Without the courts, couldn't she have done that without getting the courts involved?
Of course she could have. Of course she could have. But her decision to try to do it through the courts doesn't mean that she should not have access to her granddaughter for the rest of her life. There's no way. That's too extreme.
I don't think either of us are saying that she shouldn't have access for the rest of her life. We're saying that we don't think that she went about it the right way through the court.
Right.
Nothing is stopping her from calling her up.
Well,
now
Isabel's saying that.
And I think that's fine.
No, I said that I agreed with them coming home and celebrating. Yeah, they had every right to celebrate. She didn't win the way she wanted to. Now, if she wants to try a different way, go ahead. I don't think they're saying they're closing the door on that. They're just happy that they didn't, she didn't get what she wanted. She was going by it an evil way. I mean, this wasn't the way to go. And I'm glad that they didn't win.
Well, I'm glad. I mean, of course, like I said, there's no judge would have said, okay, take the baby this coming weekend and bring her back on, take her on Friday, bring her back on Monday. No judge would have said that. There's going to be all kinds of things that come in before that. But no, I think it was bad that they celebrated. I didn't like it at all.
Well, Ed, I'm very glad to have you as one of our Teen Mom hosts because we all have such differing opinions, and I think that it's great that here at AfterBuzz TV we can have these debates, but can at the end of the day agree to disagree. So I think that we should agree to disagree on this issue with Farrah and Derek's mom.
Well, if when Sophia gets to be older. When Sophia gets to be older and she listens to an old archive recording, Sophia, I just want you to know I was in favor of you having the opportunity to get to know your grandmother.
Oh, yeah, because by then you won't be alive.
I'm going to just say agree to disagree because that's not what Isabel and I were saying. We weren't saying she shouldn't have an opportunity to see her grandmother. We were just saying we didn't like the way she went about it. But I'm going to table that issue, settle that issue. Let's go on to Caitlin and discuss her relationship with her mother. What did you guys think about this? The thing that always stands out to me about Caitlin and Tyler is how mature they are for the types of parents they have and the way they've been raised. I have no idea how they came out as level-headed as they are.
Yep,
because anytime they're with their parents, I think, who's the kid here and who's the parent? Do you not agree with that?
Yeah, it's like they're somebody else's kids. I mean, no offense, but, it just seems like they're raised by somebody. They have so much more wisdom and patience and knowledge. And, I mean, Tyler blew me away with how he would listen to, this, like when Caitlin was on the phone with her mom and it went the scene where she was crying, and she's actually able to articulate what she needs from her mom and say, talking about, Mom, you need to consider my feelings, and you just yell at me sometimes, and I don't know why, and I don't know what to expect, etc. And she's being so articulate and fair with her words. And then Tyler just listens to the whole thing, and at the end, he goes over what she did, applauds her, says, I'm proud of you. You did great. You told her what you felt. You did best you could. I mean, amazing maturity on the part, especially on Tyler's part. But both of them, I agree with you, Mara. Their ability to communicate, their maturity level, it's like, where did that come from?
Honestly, I'm always so impressed. Last week when Tyler's dad came back from jail, I thought to myself, who's the parent and who's the kid here? And this week when they're urging, Caitlin's mom to go to counseling, I'm very happy that they turned out the way they did, and I hope that they don't go down the same road as their parents. But I will say I really, throughout the season have not liked Caitlin's mom. I really have disliked her. And this episode, I saw a different side of her because she always puts up that defensive front and she yells at her daughter and does not listen to her daughter. But finally, once Caitlin almost like begged her to go to therapy, finally she listened to her daughter, and once those tears broke and she started crying and she said, you know, I don't want our relationship to be like this. I didn't know this is how you felt. I was happy that April and Caitlin are like on the right path now. You know, I didn't know I could expect that out of April, and I'm glad that I saw that side of her.
Do you think secretly the mom is a little jealous of her daughter, just the way her daughter has been able to carry herself after giving her baby up for adoption? I think the mom expected her to break down and then go back to the mom for help. And Caitlin just never did that. They've been very strong with each other and just, you know, very happy, supportive of their decision. And I just think the mom has been so upset about her giving up the baby. So part of her still has all that anger against Caitlin, and that's why she always explodes.
Wow. I don't know if I would say she's jealous, but I think this might be one of those situations where the things that the mom keeps saying are not an issue for her, I think probably actually are. Like, she keeps saying, I'm not mad at her for giving up her baby. I'm not upset with her. It's almost like, to me, like one of those things where you say it enough to be like, okay, maybe there is something there that you're upset about.
Right.
But then maybe it is like what you're saying, Isabel, like, you know, maybe the mom wishes that she didn't have to be burdened with, you know, raising a daughter, even though she does love her daughter. I believe it when she says it. This episode, I believed it every time. I mean, just looking at her and hearing her on the phone, and then you see her in person, she doesn't seem like somebody that would be able to sit through a counseling session and listen and you know, and actually learn from it. But she was, and she did. So, you know, it was good. But
yeah, and she doesn't seem like somebody that's clean and not doing drugs.
Yeah, that's something I was thinking.
Yeah.
I have to admit it.
Yeah, no, she kind of looks like she's had some meth problems in the past. But, you know, I'm glad that the kids turned out the way they did, and I hope that their relationship continues on to the right path. Before we go to a commercial break, I wanted to talk about Macy and get to her and her moving back and forth, because last episode, we saw her decide to stay in Tennessee or in Nashville and to have Kyle move in with her. And then this week, she decides to move back to Chattanooga. And then at the end of the episode, Kyle decides to quit his job and move to Chattanooga with her. So I'm happy that he's willing to basically do anything for her. And I'm thrilled that she decided to move back to Chattanooga personally, because when she was saying she drives 2 hours each way to go to school from Nashville to Chattanooga, I was doing the math in my head. It's like 4 hours every day for 6 days a week. That's 24 hours outside of seeing your kid. That's 24 hours not being with your child. So, you know, I think that would be ridiculous to spend all that time in the car. Don't you agree?
Yeah, it is. And one of the things I thought was, well, then why is she moving instead of just starting to go to school in Nashville instead? Do we know why she's so tied to the Chattanooga State education?
I mean, it's probably more difficult to transfer schools than it is to find a new job.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I
my
remember
smoke alarm apartment's going off. I'm really sorry.
No, I just remember from the past season. The past season. She had actually, before she moved down, that was one of the first things she did. She looked at schools before she even made her decision to move down near Kyle. So I don't know what happened here. Again, we're missing some parts of the story.
Yeah, I just that's one thing I thought, okay, if you're, because she talks about, you know, wanting to build her family and start her family, and she's talking about with Kyle, and you know, and she even tells her friend, you know, sometimes she feels like, yeah, let's just have another baby and just start establishing, you know, but then to me it'd be a small thing to just start to go to school in Nashville, because you've already got these things in your life that are no longer choices. You know, you got Bentley, and there's no longer a choice. And this, to me, is what's happening here, where Bentley is really attached to Kyle, and vice versa. Okay, this is why, man. You know, if a single mom is going to bring her child around a guy boy, she's really got to know what she's doing, because she can't control the bond that might take place there with the child and that man. And so then now we're in a situation where if Kyle hadn't, decided to come and move down, Bentley would have had, another relationship sort of torn away, and it's not his fault. So that's why I was concerned, because in my mind, and you guys know the history of Macy and Ryan better than I do, but the look on Macy's face, the feeling that I got from all those scenes where she's kind of pondering and looking off and talking to her friend and looking at Kyle and Bentley playing on the swings and whatnot. But when she would talk about moving back and at her dad's house, my feeling was that she got Ryan on her mind. And was he so horrible that would never happen? Because that's the feeling I got. Like, it wasn't the end of the world that Kyle wasn't moving with her. She's hoping to start back up with Ryan. Is that totally wrong?
Totally wrong.
I don't know. I have some more of that in news and gossip. I don't believe that they're, basically I'll spill a little bit of the beans. Some magazines are claiming that Macy and Ryan are actually back together, or that she still loves him. I think that there's still something there. I feel like every time that they switch off Bentley, there's some sort of tension, like a flirtation, a sexual tension.
That's what I see.
He definitely still liked her.
Well, I see it from her. I mean, I guess I could see it from him a little bit, but I definitely see it from her. At least that's how I feel about it.
Well, I mean, let's not forget it wasn't like she stopped loving him because she wanted to. He made her stop. He was the one that didn't want anything with her. It was over, and she just had to, be the mature one and understand, okay, this is not going to work out, so I'm just moving on.
Well, wait a minute, Isabel, give us insight into the female psyche. Isn't that the thing that makes women want the guy even more?
No, because we're not dealing with the little girl here.
Kyle.
She's actually very mature. She's very mature, and the minute she backed away, that was it. She was done. And I think, I'm a mother, and if there's one thing that can make you back away from someone that you love, is the way they treat your son. And for now, we see Ryan be a good dad with his son, but before, he wouldn't even look at him, touch him, did not care. And we got to see Macy say it over and over again. If there's anything that kills me and hurts me, is the way he treats Bentley. It's like he doesn't even love him.
Yeah, and I think that's part of what makes Kyle so attractive.
Well, that's what I said, not now. I'm talking about before. And that's how she was pushed away, to just never want to be around him anymore, because he did not show his feelings for his son until now.
Yeah. I do think if Bentley weren't around, then Macy would have put up with Ryan a lot longer. I don't think that she ever fell out of love with him. It was that he wasn't a good force for them to be together. For them to be together wouldn't have been a good idea for Bentley. And so she had to move on, but that doesn't mean that love went away.
Yeah, I didn't see, like, I saw a small little smirk. I don't know. Maybe she's somebody who is not very emotionally expressive. Like I said, you guys know her better than I do. But her and Kyle, and maybe it's because they're on camera too, but they seem so reserved. They seem so unsure, and I didn't get the feeling like, I'm not trying to say anything negative, but when I saw them in the kitchen and he told her I quit my job, and, I just felt like it was all just like unsure. They're really unsure of what they even wanted, if it was the right thing to do, which not knowing if it's the right thing to do is okay, but not knowing if you want it or not, that's a whole big different thing. And that's the feeling I got. Like they just, I saw a little smirk of relief on her face, but I didn't really see that sort of, super happiness that I would expect of a couple that's, really in love and that she wants to get married and all that stuff,
Yeah. Well, I have more on Macy and Kyle and Ryan and their relationship in news and gossip. So why don't we go to a quick commercial break, and I'll come back with that.
Want to find out what the AfterBuzz is about?
Janice is a drama queen.
This is the divide that is going to carry the series.
Give us a call. 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729. 256-1729.
It's television, and they want it to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's Shakespearean.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Find out why AfterBuzz TV is the #1 source for after-show content.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from? Your husband or your best friend?
The wig!
The wig will come out.
When the TV show is over, get your AfterBuzz on.
Okay, so I have some news and gossip and some answers for you, Ed.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Okay, so according to OK Magazine, suddenly single Macy has been getting closer to Ryan since she and Kyle decided to take a break. Quote, Macy and Ryan's friendship has been great. They've been doing a good job figuring out a system of how to raise Bentley together. Ryan's parents also praised them for putting aside their differences to learn to be good parents. They said, quote, we're extremely proud of the way Ryan and Macy are coming together to co-parent Bentley.
Wow. Isabel, would you have expected Macy and Kyle to take a break after he moved down there?
Yeah.
Really?
They
Why?
did when she moved up there. He left her once she moved up there.
I will give a little disclaimer here. Every single week that I pass the newsstand, Macy is with Kyle or with Ryan, or she is having, it's crazy the back and forth of these magazines, so I'm not sure what to believe here, because one week she'll be on the cover of Us magazine saying she wants to have a second child with Kyle, and then the next week she'll be on the cover, and they're back with Ryan and wants to have a second kid with Ryan, so I don't tend to believe the magazines here.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't find it hard to believe that they can grow up and then come back together and maybe make something work out. But I think they're growing up and just differently from each other, so I don't think it would work out even if they got together. I just don't believe the magazine.
Yeah. And Ed, I have some news for you on your celebrity crush. Farel will be appearing in the new Charlie's Angels television show. And she tweeted, this was a little mistake here, but she said, yay, I met great people at a casting, and I'm going to be in the new Charlie's Angels movie. Good luck to the other amazing casties. So clearly she's not going to be in the movie, but she's going to be in the TV show. But you will be able to see her and her new fake boobs on that show in the fall.
Well, I hope she can take some of the money that she makes and take out how to be respectful to my mom class. But other than that, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, she claimed her boobs were an investment in her future. I don't know if they helped her get the Charlie's Angels gig or what, but she landed it. Now I have Amber Portwood news. She will be getting a visit from Leah while she's still in rehab. She and former fiance Gary discussed that, and he actually made that happen. He petitioned to the court to get a no-contact order lifted because they actually had a no-contact order, Gary and her, based off of everything that's happened. And now he plans to fly to California tomorrow with Leah to visit Amber for the rehab center's family week.
Wait a minute, Gary and Amber had a no-contact order for each other or for the...
No, it was for the baby.
Yeah, between each other. They had a no-contact order. They could not be with each other. They could each be with the baby but could not be with each other.
Oh, my God, I didn't know that part. Man, because see...
It's everything that's unfolding that we know, even though the episodes are so far behind.
Yeah, no, I think I was just going to mention that, you know what, in some respects, I kind of want to... give Gary props because he's dealing with somebody who really, she'll hit him, she'll yell at him, if he tries to say one thing that she's responsible for, she gets mad and blames him for 10 things, and says you're not going through anything. I mean, she just is really difficult to deal with for him, even to the point of assault. But yet he still is hanging in there for his daughter, at least at this point in the show. But wow, I guess maybe that if he petitioned the court to get a no contact order lifted, that means that someone else placed it, meaning that law enforcement said you're not allowed to contact him.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Ed.
Wow.
Like I said it before, this is probably the best dad on these shows.
Yeah. we'll have to see what happens, but I am glad that she gets to see her daughter in rehab because it must be incredibly difficult. She's been in rehab for about a month now, so to be away from her daughter for that long must be very difficult.
Yeah.
But I have some Caitlin and Tyler news. They've settled with a Michigan landlord who had taken the couple to court seeking to have them evicted for failing to pay their rent on time.
Wow. See, that type of thing just makes it tougher to stay positive. I mean, come on, going to court for paying. I mean, that's got to be stressful. Got to be stressful.
And I just wonder, don't they have MTV money to pay for their rent?
We're always wondering where the
and
MTV money is.
And all her speaking engagements.
Yeah, that's what we want to know. And I mean, you see on one hand, you see Macy going to one apartment to another. The first one's like, oh, this one's $850 a month. She's like, okay. Next one, it's a nice place. Did you see the inside of that place? It's
I know.
Nice, furnished apartment. And it's like, she goes, it's $1,000 a month. And she's like, okay, no problem, I'll take it. And
I know.
That's not a lot of
But
rent.
I think we also have to think about their parents. Look at their parents. They all look well put together. And then you see Caitlin's and Tyler's parents, and who knows, maybe most of their money is going to helping their parents.
I guess, I mean, I'm sure that's what it is. I'm sure it's what it is. But for Macy's situation, it seems like something that we would hear. Like it seems like it's important to tell the reader, okay, how come this kid, this mom can afford $1,000 a month by herself, and these other ones are taken to court because they can't pay their rent. You know, explain that in the show. Like one of the friends to say, how are you going to pay for this? Say, oh, my dad's giving me money. You know, it seems like something that in life it would be revealed. But
yeah. Well, we'll see more of that next week in their money struggle. Next week's episode, Caitlin and Tyler need jobs, and they start applying for jobs. Ryan actually wants to take Macy to court because she's trying to take Bentley on his days. Amber's custody saga continues to unfold, and Farah has concerns about graduating. So I will hopefully have both of you joining me next week, as well as Courtney, and hopefully our raucous debate will continue. And thank you for joining me this week, both of you.
All right, thanks, Mara.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and join us next week, same time, same place for AfterBuzz TV Teen Mom.
We got the predictions.
That was predictions?
Well, she
when she did predictions, I ran through it. I knew you guys got.
At what point did you say? And that's your AfterBuzz TV news and gossip.
Okay, hold on. For the record, that is not DJ Jesse Janity talking to us from the booth. That is his fill-in. Who also AKA fill-in. But see, you guys did a changing of the guards over there, Phil, and we didn't even know that happened. I mean, you know, Mari starts hearing your voice, and she thinks that she's going crazy, like you're in her head or tapping her phone or something.
She is going crazy because she didn't say, and that's your AfterBuzz TV news and gossip.
Well.
And that was your AfterBuzz TV news and gossip. I'm sorry, I rolled straight into the predictions.
Okay. Well, wait a minute. Since I didn't do the predictions. Oh, now you're doing the end credit thing.
Yeah, because now you guys are ending.
Well, I didn't do predictions yet.
Wow.
Okay, I predict that...
okay, it's Ed's turn to do predictions.
I predict that... what's her face? Macy? Macy likes Ryan. Macy likes Ryan. Macy likes Ryan. That's it.
I don't think we're going to see that next week or anytime this season.
Oh, and that Farah...
Maybe in her psyche,
and Farah is going to be... a wonderful actress. No, I don't. I can't imagine her being a good actress, but we'll see what happens.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.